My dad used to always tell me in basketball, he's like, you want to make sure that each person that's on your team is able to, score, is able to feel good, put them in a position to be also a leader.
Hey everyone, welcome back to University. I'm Anne-Marie Cheresso, your host and coach. On today's show, I talk with Zaniya Lewis, founder and CEO of the Yes, She Can campaign, a nonprofit that uses live events and technology to provide educational resources, programming, and professional development to girls, young women, and youth nationwide. I'm really excited to share my conversation with Zaniya with you. She was an inspiration to me and so many others, and I know you're going to love her as much as I did. Let's pop into my conversation as she tells us more about her organization and why she created it.
I'm the founder and CEO and executive director of the Yes, She Can campaign, which is a 501c3 youth-led nonprofit organization that empowers, inspires, and shares the stories of girls, young women, and youth who are overcoming adversity while striving to complete their education. So what the Yes, She Can campaign does is that we provide educational resources, programming, and professional development to young people across the nation. And so we do it in a live events form and a virtual form. So I started the Yes, She Can campaign my freshman year of college in December of 2016 because I was overcoming a lot of obstacles in my life. And I was always wondering, were other people experiencing the same hardships as I was experiencing? And so I started the Yes, She Can campaign. It was really focused on girls and young women at the time. And we shared stories of girls and young women who were basically overcoming adversity while striving to complete their education. And through those stories, I started to learn that a lot of the students had a lot of obstacles going on in their lives, whether it was the lack of financial assistance to help them with their education, whether it was a lack of empowerment in their communities, a lack of resources and opportunities, and just a lack of a supportive community. And so I said, you know what, why not create Yes, She Can campaign's programs surrounded and inspired by these girls' stories. And so every program at the Yes, She Can campaign is inspired by all the girls who share their stories with me at the beginning and throughout my journey of basically running the organization. And
Wow.
It's been an incredible ride. I recently graduated college and I've experienced a lot of hardships throughout my college journey, especially this past year. So it's just really empowering and inspiring to see all these girls and young women and young people who are part of our organization. When I first started, I wanted it to be youth-led. And during that time, there weren't that many youth-led nonprofit organizations. And I said, I want young people being able to, contact people for sponsorships and partnerships or planning events or hosting events. I want them to have that seat at the table. And so I continue to keep that mission possible. So the organizations run by high school, college, and recent graduate students. And they run different departments of our organization, and they get that college, that career readiness skills through our organization so that, when they go off after the Yes, She Can campaign, they can get jobs, they can get internships and, go out there and accomplish their goals and dreams or even start their own organization.
That's fantastic. And I'm curious about what have been some of the biggest obstacles you have faced personally?
Yes. For me, it has been financial hardships, especially this year was really, really just heartbreaking because in my organization, I preach to students to apply to scholarships to get that funding for the education. But in my case, it actually backfired because my university actually practiced this practice called scholarship award displacement, where you can win a private scholarship and then they can decrease your financial aid package. So that means
So
that they
if
can
you win
take
a
away.
scholarship, you get less
Yes,
money.
I didn't get as much money. Also, they increased my loans and they took away my work study. And so I was sitting there my senior year of college, determining whether I should drop out or, get into more debt. But because I had, basically one more semester left, I was like, you know what, I need to finish. So I was lucky enough to get approved for a private loan, but I didn't have any co-signers or anything. And this private loan, this was the last one I applied to and I was able to receive it. But I still didn't get enough money to finish paying my tuition. So I had to basically work so many hours during my fall and spring semester to pay off my college, which was just horrible because, I tell students to apply to scholarships and then this happens. So I use my energy more this semester and this year to advocate to get policies to address this issue. And we've had some success. We've been working with other organizations that have been fighting for policies for years, and we've been able to get a state bill introduced, and it was actually passed in the Higher Education Committee in New Jersey. So it's on its way to get passed. So that scholarship award
That's amazing.
displacement, yeah. So that scholarship award displacement is outlawed in New Jersey. And then I'm actually working with my congressman, Andy Kim, and they're actually going to introduce in a couple of months a federal bill to address scholarship award displacement.
Way
And
to go.
yes, I'm so excited. And it just happened so fast. And the people that have been working on this, organizations that have been working on this forever, they were just so happy, and I made sure to contact them and have them a part of this because I'm like, this couldn't have been possible if it wasn't for you guys putting the work in all these years. We've done events together, and it's just been so cool, to see, that you can really accomplish a lot if you come together. And then the scholarship that I won that my university basically displaced, the company, the Taco Bell Foundation, actually changed their policies this year so that that wouldn't happen to anyone else, any other scholars. I was like, I can't cry about this. I need to, try to figure out ways to, change this policies and make sure no one else has experienced what I experienced.
What is the driving force behind the part of you that says, I can't cry about this. I got to, get a job, figure it out, empower myself so that I can empower others. Like, there's a distinct difference between the mindset of one who does that and the mindset of one who says, this isn't fair, it's not right, I'm going to give up. So what makes you different?
I think for me, just growing up, and I've always had obstacles in my way. Even when I was born 1 pound and 15 ounces. And so my parents say I have this kind of
Fighting
mindset,
spirit.
it's fighting spirit that I've always had since I was younger, because it's never been easy since the beginning. So I keep that mindset, and I understand that I was given a second chance on this earth. And so I need to, do what I need to do to change this world. And I can't give up because I've been through so many obstacles. So that was just another, obstacle in my way. And I pushed it over and continue to climb. And I just think it's important for young people to have resiliency, because that's just something that you need to have, because you can't let obstacles stop you. It's always going to be there, and you got to figure out how to climb that ladder. And for me, if I sat there and cried about it, and didn't do anything, then all these students that were going to come after me would experience the same thing. And it would be more students going into debt, people not knowing this, wasting their time applying scholarships when they can just understand the policies that each school has.
Well, I can see even why bother applying for scholarship if it's going to impact my ability to.
Exactly.
It seems like it almost made it harder for you.
Yeah, it did. It made it harder for me because my school's policies, and every school has different policies, financial aid policies. And that's something that now I teach to the students that come through my organization. Like, please make sure that you check these financial aid policies before you even start applying to these colleges, or before you even start applying to scholarships, because you just don't want to waste your time. And you don't want to go through what I experienced, where I almost had to drop out because of this.
So, okay, I'm going to ask again. I'm looking at you, right? This is a podcast. Everyone knows it's a podcast, but we're going to have some video links because you and I are on Zoom. You're speaking to me with a smile on your face through all of these obstacles that you've experienced. You seem to have a really bright perspective on life and your relationship to obstacles, right? And I always talk about obstacles are opportunities. That's not unique. Lots of people say that. But you seem to really embody that, right? There's a way we think it in our head, but there's also a way in which we believe it with our whole body, And I see you sitting over there believing that obstacles are opportunities to grow and not hold you back. And what are you seeing as a result in your life from having that kind of a mindset?
I think for me, what I'm seeing is that I still have a positive mindset when things happen that, wasn't planned, or obstacles. But I think it's an opportunity for just anyone to really think about your life and to really understand, there's steps that you can take to get through that, So I just, so for me, I just use that, like you said, as a motivating spirit. It's always been a part of like my DNA that I always say. So, but for some, I think for people who are just not used to that, I think everyone has obstacles. You just don't realize it, you know? And so that's just like my thought on that.
And some of us have more obstacles than
Mhm.
others, right?
Yes,
Like
exactly.
we can get into the whole racism conversation and
Hmm.
the inequity conversation, which I think is an important one to explore. But you know, somehow some of us start out with greater
Yeah.
obstacles than
Yeah.
others, and
Hmm.
I just think that's important for us to note. One of the things I see you doing is you're seeking to empower others.
Hmm.
What does it mean to be empowered? What does that
Yes.
mean to you?
So to me, especially, that's my like mission and passion. And at first, when I was younger, I used to think empowering was all about like motivating people and giving them all that butterfly words that everyone has, inspiring words. But then when I started to grow up, I started to realize that empowerment really truly means to me is making sure that students, young people, anyone is provided with those resources and tools that they can empower themselves. People can say, inspiring, motivating things, and then that can just go out one ear and go, but the thing is that, you want to make sure that you're providing tools and resources so that they can go out and they have those tools and resources for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for me what empowerment means. Yeah.
Who provided you with those tools and resources?
Yeah, so I grew up in a military family. And when my dad was deployed, a lot of nonprofit organizations, came and helped my family, whether it was providing us with like free tickets to things, educational programming, leadership programming. And so they always said at the end, like, you always need to pay it forward. And so a lot of the nonprofits that helped me throughout the way, whether it was military nonprofit organizations or even a nonprofit organization in my area called the Old League, they provided me with those leadership skills and programming so that I could go out there and change the world. And I believe that's important, and I still keep connected with those organizations to show them that, what you taught me, I'm able to inspire even more people.
That's really fun. So I want to talk a little bit about impact. So in June, you spoke at the Social Innovation Summit
Yes, yes.
alongside like executives from Facebook and the NBA and Microsoft and Nike and all that. And you have put yourself in these powerful leadership roles and a place to really make impact in the world. So I want you to speak to like, what's the impact you most wish to have?
I think for me, the most impact I wish to have is just to be like an inspiration to young people so that they understand to never give up. A lot of people look up like at celebrities and they also overcame obstacles. But I think for me and my story, it was a bit different. It was never easy, and I hope that like my story inspires people to not give up. And a lot of the students that I work with, they've said that they were very surprised about what happened to me this, year. And they were like, you accomplished so much, and you still have to, keep knocking on that door. And I'm like, yes, that's just something you're gonna have to do. And I'm not mad about it. But I think my story will, I hope, inspire people to never give up, and like the actions that I've been able to accomplish and my organization and other things, I hope that can inspire people to go ahead and follow their dreams.
There must be moments where you get frustrated or you do feel like giving up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do in those moments to get yourself back up again?
I listen to motivational like speeches. So one of my favorite motivational speakers is Eric Thomas, and I'm not sure if you know him.
No.
No, but he's really good. He actually works for like consulting, I think, for the NBA and other corporations. But I started watching him since I was in high school because I used to play basketball. So he was just really, it resonated with me. But I think the reason why he resonates with me is because he also went through a lot of obstacles. He was like a high school dropout, and then he went on to get his PhD in college, and just how he expresses himself and how he lifts other people up with his words is truly inspiring. He always says, if you want it, you need to want it. If you really want something, you may not be able to get enough sleep. You may have to wake up at like 4 a.m. and get it done. And I think that's just so like inspiring and so motivating for me, because when those times do come when I want to give up, I just put his speeches on and listen to it, and it, empowers me. So.
We all need someone to lift us up when we're down, and I love that you have him. He's great. I'm going to check him out. Eric
Yes.
Thomas, love that.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about leadership on this podcast, and I define leadership as influence. And beyond that, it's taking responsibility for the influence you have in the world.
Yeah.
So I see like you're inspired by people like Eric Thomas, who has demonstrated like he's got influence. How can he take responsibility for his influence, inspire others to do the same? I see you as a real leader, but I want to know, how do you define leadership?
Yes. So I also define leadership as influence, but I also defined it as how can you make sure that everyone you work with is also seen as a superhero. My dad used to always tell me in basketball, he's like, I used to be a point guard, and he used to say, you want to make sure that each person that's on your team is able to, score, is able to feel good, put them in a position to be also a leader as well. And I use that, philosophy into my organization, where I make sure that my team is empowered. They're inspired by the work that they do, that I make sure that I congratulate them every day. I say, thank you. You just have to be really nice, as a leader. But also, I think what's also cool about my organization is that, when I apply to like scholarships or awards for my organization, I don't apply for them for just me. Or if someone wants to nominate, my organization for something, they will say, oh, do you want to be nominated? And I say, just nominate my organization, because that's more empowering. Because if my organization wins, then everybody in my organization wins. And it's not just me. So that was something where the Diana Award, I'm not sure if you read about that, but in 2019, my organization won the Diana Award. And there was a section where you can apply, have someone nominate you for a individual award, or you can get nominated as a group. And so I told my mentor, I said, just nominate us as a group, because now everyone in my team at that time became a Diana Award honoree. And it wasn't about me, it was about my team and what they've done and helped me, create this organization. So I just think it's really important to make sure that you use your resources. Like, if someone's going to nominate you for an award, nominate your group, because that will help them. You just never know where that may go. And a lot of people I know in my organization who became Diana Award honorees are now speaking at different conferences, getting paid for it because they need money. And it's opening so many doors for them. And I'm just like, wow, that's what leadership truly is.
Yeah, you were a catalyst to raise others up and empower others. That's amazing. How's that feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's just great to see that you can really empower people, and making sure that those decisions of making sure that they're nominated for the Diana Award, and see that we all won that. It's just so empowering that they can use that award and they can run with it and do other things, and it opens so many doors for them.
So many doors for so many people, and the ripple effect of the impact that it's having is far greater than one can imagine.
Exactly.
So there goes more impact. Think about that, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing to have that kind of impact. So just real quickly, for those who are listening in who don't understand what the Diana Award is, can you just tell really quickly, give all 2 sentences?
Yeah, so the Diana Award is basically in honor of Princess Diana, and every year they mentors nominate young people for this award. It's actually one of the highest awards you can get for social justice work in the world for young people. And so it's between ages 9 to 25. And so that's what the award is. And then you're part of a global network, and it's an international award for the United States and other countries.
So exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey there. We're all aware that these are unprecedented times. And with that, inevitably comes a lot of fear, a lot of stress, and a lot of anxiety. And while these are challenging times, these are also times for cultivating resilience, personal growth and development, all valuable skills for you as the next generation of leaders. So I'd like to help you learn to thrive this year while navigating these challenges. This August, I'm offering my Drop the Drama workshops online for free to college students. My Drop the Drama program is designed to help you learn to take responsibility and take control when life feels out of control. You'll learn how to cultivate self-awareness, a fundamental skill of great leaders. You'll learn to be self-empowered and develop lifelong skills to navigate whatever challenges arise in the moment, so you're free to succeed. Hop over to annemarietresso.me and find a date in August to drop into my free online workshop and set yourself up to thrive this year. Or text I am free to 474747 to get your free meditation and to learn more. Welcome back to University. You're listening to my conversation with Zaniya Lewis. We've been talking about obstacles as opportunities, making an impact by lifting up your team, and how motivational speaker Eric Thomas helps Zaniya when she's down. Let's rejoin the conversation as Zaniya tells me about the time she got to interview Michelle Obama. Speaking of awards, you also won an essay contest that got you invited to interview Michelle Obama at the White House. Take me back to the moment when you won that award and then you walked into the White House. What was that all like for you?
Yes, so it was my first semester of my high school senior year when I applied for the award. So around, I think November of 2015. So I saw it on Twitter. I use social media a lot when it comes to finding opportunities. And so I saw this contest and I was like, oh my goodness, should I apply to this? And so I asked my mom, she said, go for it. You never know. So the essay question was asking, how are you overcoming adversity to get into your dream colleges? And how are you basically inspiring other people? So that was basically up my alley. And so I wrote an essay about that. And a couple of months later, I received an email saying that I was a finalist for the award and that they had to do some background check and everything. So I didn't hear from them for a couple of days. And I thought, I didn't win this. And I was actually crying. And then my dad came home one night and he said, check your email, you see if they contact you back. And I was like, Dad, they probably didn't contact me back, And then he's like, just check. And so when I checked the email, it said that I won the contest.
Oh my God.
And so we were like,
I have chills.
It was incredible. I couldn't believe it. And my parents were like, oh my goodness. And then that next week I had to go to the White House. So it was really a quick turnaround. So I had to make sure I got my hair done. My mom's like, you need to get your hair done tomorrow. So we basically prepped for the interview. I had meetings with 17 magazine. And then the next week I was on my way to Washington, D.C. to meet First Lady Michelle Obama at the time. And so that morning was just
That's so exciting.
Yes, it was exciting. I was nervous. My parents were like, do not mess this up. But
no pressure.
I know, no pressure going to the White House. But I've always dreamed to go to the White House. I never went. So this was just up my alley. And then when I got to Washington, D.C., we were greeted by a car. We went to a hotel. We basically had briefings on, what's going to happen the next day. And then the day of the photo shoot, we had to wake up 4:00 a.m. and get our nails done. And we had got our hair done. Everything was so cool. And then we went to the White House and we met Mrs. Obama and we had a photo shoot with her. And she was just very loving. Her spirit is just amazing. And she gave us a lot of advice, I think, that really stayed with me throughout my whole college, and it will stay with me through my whole life, journey. The shoot was about, how graduating high school and going on to college and the advice that she gave us. And so I think one of the most important advice she gave Gemma and I, who Gemma was my contest winner, was that to continue to reinvent yourself and that, now since you're graduating high school, you're about to go to college and you're going to find new things about yourself and discover new things about yourself. And I think that really helped me because I was just on a not sure what I was going to do next kind of phase. And that was before I started my nonprofit because I was I'm graduating. I was a part of all these nonprofits, but now I'm getting old. What am I going to do next?
Now you're getting old?
Yeah, I was getting older for the nonprofits that I was a part of because it was you had to be, I think it ended at 18 years old. So I just think that was really cool. She always also told us to continue our education, to continue to empower other people and make a difference. She didn't want us to stop that, since we won this contest. And both of us went on to do incredible things. I know Gemma, she did Forbes Under 30. She won that and started her own company, and she's doing amazing things. I still keep in contact with her to this day. And what I was able to do with my organization and graduate college is just incredible. So I think 17, selected the right, students for the contest.
Yes, it's amazing. And since then, you were named 25 under 25 for social entrepreneurs in the nation, weren't you?
Yes, with Culture Media and Impact Nation. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, So what's it been like for you to have the experience of gaining this level of acknowledgement? You've been invited to the Social Innovation Summit. You were named 25 under 25. You've got this essay award. You're getting lots of affirmations from the world, speaking sort of the truth into you. How does that feel?
I think for me, it feels amazing. And I'm not about awards or anything, but I just think that these experiences really help me to also, show me that, what I'm doing is actually great, And I know, like, in high school for me, I didn't have a lot of recognition. A lot of people I call, like, slept on me. They didn't believe that I was a leader because of my skin color, or just because I was, like, in a lot of, like, my high school that I went to was, like, not really supportive in some ways. And I went through a lot of, like, racial injustices and discrimination. And so to have these people, really acknowledge me, because I didn't feel like I was acknowledged at my high school, was very important. I want to go back because in 2015, I won my first national contest that people like to glance over sometimes, but it was actually with the NBA and the NBPA. And they selected 3 student athletes in America to travel with them to South Africa for the first NBA game on the continent of Africa. And so
Seriously?
so that was my first contest that I won. And then a couple months later, it was the 17 contest. So that year was a, like, whirlwind. Like, my parents couldn't believe it. They're like, what is going on here? But I went through a lot of hardships. I'm in high school. And so I felt like these contests really built me, because I felt in a way I wasn't empowered and I didn't feel acknowledged. And I just felt like what I was doing wasn't, just wasn't being seen in some ways by my high school. And my parents always said, you were doing great. Don't let people, put you down or anything. But I think these contests really gave me confidence and empowerment and those resources to go after my dreams. And I needed that during that time. It was just like a hard time for me. And I'm just so grateful that people like Mrs. Obama and 17 Magazine and the NBA and the NBPA really saw something in me when other people, didn't. It shows now, reflects now to everything that I've been able to accomplish when it came to my nonprofit organization. And I make sure that, when people come in my organization and they apply for positions, that I'm not looking for the people that had all these experiences and with all these companies or internships. I'm looking for people who just were starting off, or who maybe were, like, slept on, when I say, because it's important that, you give those students those resources and you empower them. Because I know for me, I was doing great things and people weren't giving me, any opportunity, And so I make sure that my organization provides students with opportunities, even if they're just starting off.
So as a Black woman who deals with racism and inequity, and, I heard you say a few times, I wasn't being given the opportunity, yet there was something in you that, well, there's 2 things you said. You said that, and then you also said they saw something in me, meaning 17 Magazine and the NBA. And so I want to point to, well, I believe you also saw that in you.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a way in which, when we're oppressed and we're not seen by others, that we can also oppress ourselves. And you didn't do that. So I want to really acknowledge that. And thank you for not letting the ignorance of oppression and racism sort of dim the light that lives in you. And as a white woman over here, I can't know what it's like to be in your shoes and have those experiences. So maybe just take a moment and speak to what that's like for you, to not only not have people fully see you, but to even oppress what the truth of you really is.
Yeah, so for me, during those experiences that I had, it just felt like you will continue to keep doing great things and people will be like, oh no, that's not good enough, or, oh, you didn't do that. And so I had a lot of that, especially when one of these contests, especially the 17 one, where I won this contest, yet people in my high school and adults were talking about my story wasn't valid, that I wasn't telling the truth, about racial discrimination and everything, and how they tried to, ignore what I was going through, because they felt as though that kind of threatened their, brand or their platform. And that's a consistent thing that I have to go through, is like, when I do win these contests, or when I do, share my story, people will say, oh, that didn't happen, and that's not right, because you can't tell someone that their story didn't happen when, you might have not seen it, but it happened, And so it's draining. It was very draining, I think, in high school when that continued to, keep happening. And even with the 17, like, yes, it was a great contest that I won, but on the other side, I was actually, crying in a bathroom when people were talking about how my story wasn't valid and how I should never won that contest, and that's oppression right there. You have a girl in high school win this national contest with the first lady, and you sit here and you try to say her story is invalid, and that's something I don't really share with a lot of people that happen with me, but I think it's important to show people that, yes, this was a great contest, but then it was also oppression happening during that time. So, yeah.
What do you say to those who live on the side of oppression and say things like that?
I say that I know that you may not be able to experience, what others have experienced, like myself, but it's important to just listen, and you may not understand it, but listen, because it's important to listen to other people's stories, because you might not ever experience it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and expect people to really understand, but I am asking you to listen to me and to not, say it didn't happen in a way. So that's what I feel like. Listen, and don't try to say something didn't happen, because you just don't know.
Yeah. Listen, be open, get curious, which I think is a really key. What we teach over here is to be in a state of curiosity, openness, listening to learn, right? And I heard you say that often those who are oppressed because they feel like their brand or their platform is being threatened. And I appreciate you naming that, because this is what happens when we become threatened. We defend, we oppress, we deny, from a place of fear, right? This is what we do from fear. Like, I'm afraid something's going to be taken away from me and I better protect it. So I really appreciate the part of you who has the awareness to see that and name that.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is.
So tell me what success looks like to you.
Yeah, so I love this question. I get it all the time. But for me, I think success is about empowering people to go after their goals and their dreams. That's what success has been for me. It's never been about the awards or anything. It's been about, being able to inspire and have an influence and help make a positive impact on the world, and making sure that other people who I've touched can do that as well.
So you've just graduated GW.
Yes.
Weird graduation, I imagine.
Yes.
A COVID graduation. How has that been for you? How has finishing senior year and being in this COVID space during this time in your life, what was that like for you?
Yeah, so finishing senior year was I actually liked the online classes. It wasn't that bad. Some people have different experiences, of course, but it was a smooth ending for my senior year after everything that I went through. So I think it was a great experience when it came to online, and just learning my different learning styles when it came to online was important, because that might be the future of, education now. And I think the graduation, having an online graduation, I'm glad that the colleges have decided to do that, because it's important to, acknowledge all the students that went through all these, 4 years or 2 years or anything, and all the work they put into. It's important to acknowledge them. And, we spend a lot of money to graduate. So we should be able to get a graduation. But COVID has really just been a learning lesson, I think, for me, especially transitioning my nonprofit. Although we were already a virtual organization, I think it's helped me to understand to continue to be more flexible for our young people because of everything that they're going through. I've had some deaths in my family, not because of COVID, but during this time. And so I know how hard it is for everyone who's, experiencing the hardships of this. It's just very, very sad. I've been trying to keep empowered and inspired. And so making sure I exercise is so important. Getting some sunlight and also making sure you have a schedule where you don't be on a computer the whole day. That's something that I was doing. I was on a computer the whole day when it first started.
We talk a lot about self-awareness. And I heard you say that you recognized that you can't be on the computer all day and you need to take care of yourself. So what are some self-awareness practices you utilize, if any?
So for me, I exercise. So I used to go to the gym when the gyms were open. But now I do like daily walks with one of my friends. I have a treadmill at home. So I'm on a treadmill every day. I try to get off the computer like about like 4 or 5 o'clock, just because the screen can hurt my eyes. That's something that I've been noticing, that, the screen can definitely hurt your eyes. I've always been twitching. My eyes is always twitching. So I'm like, I need some glasses. So that's for me. I'm going to start like doing meditation because I heard a lot of people have said that works. So actually one of my team members is having like a meditation event for the Yes You Can campaign on Saturday. So I'm going to go there to see, how to meditate, because I don't know any of that. So I'm excited. I'm for it.
That's my jam. That's what I teach. So I'll have to clue you in on some of the things that I teach as well.
Yes, please do.
So you've mentioned, I stepped away from my desk, so I don't have it. You mentioned 2 mentors so far. Well, 2 people have influenced you. The NBA mentor, what's his name?
Oh, Eric Thomas.
Eric Thomas. Mm-hmm. And you talked a little bit about Michelle Obama as she inspired you. Mm-hmm. But who's had the biggest influence in your life as a mentor or a teacher?
Oh, I have a lot of people.
It's a hard one.
Yes, it is. But I think for me, I'm going to talk about my family members. So I think my sister and my mom and my dad have been I think the most influential people in my life, just because their stories as well. But they've always had that motivating factors in their lives, and always motivated me to continue to climb, to continue to go after my goals and dreams. And so they've helped me during the most difficult times. And it was just great to be at home, especially during high school, but to go home and have people that empower you and family members that empower you, because not that many people have that. I've learned throughout my organization that a lot of students don't have family members or family that they can go to as a supportive, system. A lot of my friends, a lot of my friends, they actually, when I was growing up playing basketball, they loved to be with my family because my family was able to provide that safe and supportive, environment and community. And a lot of my friends call my mom and my dad mom and dad because, they've been able to, help them throughout their journey, even when I'm not there. And so that's really, I think that shows that my family is, incredible, and they've had their obstacles, they've had their successes, but it's important that they continue to inspire not only me, but, the people that my friends and the people that I'm able to, reach.
Sounds like you have a beautiful family.
Yes, I do.
All right. So tell me, and you really love them a lot. I really love that. So you talk a lot about basketball.
Yes.
You mentioned it a number of times. So it seems like that's a big part of your life. Do you still play basketball now?
So I do not play basketball anymore, but it was a big part of my life because I started, I think my parents said I started maybe when I was 4 or 5, and I ended when I was 18.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's the greatest lesson you learned as, a basketball player?
I feel like sports teaches you a number of lessons that I always tell students, go ahead and do some sports because you'll learn life lessons. But I think for me, like I said in the beginning about how my dad said, you have to make sure everyone on your team is a superhero, and for me, it was about making sure that everyone is provided with that opportunity to score, to, be empowered. It was never about me. And although I was successful when it came to like scoring 1,000 points, people don't know that I actually had like over 1,000 assists that they didn't count, but I counted. So it's just important that as a leader in a basketball court that you empower your teammates through not only the good times, but the bad times, whether you're losing, and that you continue to keep going. And I think giving 120%, that was one of my coaches, basketball coaches always said, give 120%. So you give 100%, for the game, but then you're going to have that 20% for overtime. And I always tell everyone, that I, teach when I come to my organization is to give 120% effort. Because you can't dictate the outcome, but you can dictate basically your climb and your effort. So that's just something that I've learned from basketball, and I keep every lesson I've learned from basketball with me because it's important.
Love that. I love that when we empower everyone wins.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's something that I think great leaders truly understand, and I see that in you already. And I have so much hope for the future with leaders like you.
Thank you.
Have this clarity around what's best for the collective. But it's not an individual experience. We are all interconnected. I think that's the thing coronavirus has taught us more than anything, is to remember how we are all deeply interconnected. And hopefully that will continue to inform the divisiveness around race and other inequities in the world, to continue to remember how interconnected we all are. So thank you for being, my word for you is warrior.
Thank you.
For empowerment, and reminding that we're all connected no matter what, and that when we're each individually lit up, inspired, and empowered, we can light up the world.
Exactly.
And I love that you stand for that.
Thank you.
That was my conversation with Zaniya Lewis. You can find out more about her and the Yes She Can campaign at yesshecancampaign.org. We've also included relevant social media handles in the show notes. And thank you, Zaniya, for sharing your story with me. One of the things I loved so much about talking to Zaniya was how committed she was and is to lifting others up in her life. She's really committed to making sure that everyone she encounters, works with, is in relationship to, is empowered to be their best selves. So for today, I'd like you to pause and take a moment and think about, how are you empowering others in your life? How are you inspiring others to be the best they can be? And what's one concrete thing you can do today to inspire and empower someone around you? Okay, that's all for now. May you breathe easily, take it one moment at a time, and keep on doing the things you love. And I'll see you next time. The university's executive producer is Tyler Green of thestoryproducer.com. This podcast is also produced and edited by Katie Clarkson. The university team also includes Marcia Craig, Ashwath Narayanan from Culture Media, Adam Harris, and Kim Redding. University is a production of Bring It Home, founded by Anne-Marie Cheresso. You can find out more at ANNMARIECHERESO.me, or follow us at Anne-Marie Cheresso on Instagram. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to this show on your favorite podcast app and write us a review. It really does help us have more of an impact in the world. Thanks so much for listening in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.